So thank you for all the organizers who invited me to this workshop and also to the trimester who I was not able to come in presential. I will speak about some works with Jean-Philippe Chancelier and Benoît Tran on one side and Eric Fojo on the other side. Who are about a solution of Hamilton-Jacobi equation, but also of discrete time Bellman equations. So, in these works, I am interested only in finite horizon problems, so stochastic control, finite horizon problems. So either we need to maximize or to minimize some cost or some reward, some payoff, which is the sum of the integral of the running cost plus final cost. The stochastic process is diffusion, so satisfying a diffusion equation, stochastic differential equation. So you have some drift, some sigma, and W is representing the d-dimensional Brownian motion. And we want to compute the value function and the feedback optimal control. So, which is ever max. Yes, and sometimes I will add some discount rate also to complicate it a little. And sometimes we'll use minimization instead of maximization. So under suitable assumptions, we have that this value function is solution to the Hamilton-Jacobi equation, so a parabolic Hamilton-Jacobi equation, which is of second order. Here are the formula for the Hamiltonian. So the Hamiltonian here so in this problem, I assume that there are two types of controls, one which is discrete, so infinite set, which I call M, and another control U, which is in a continuous space, so like Rn, Rp, maybe. And so we have to and so Hamiltonian is the maximum over all the controls of this linear function of gamma, P, R, which are the second derivative, the first derivative, and the value function. I will be interested also in considering discrete time problem, but with continuous space. So discrete time means that you replace integrals by sums, and you have here a cost or Lagrangian again, final cost. And the dynamics is given like that. So you have a process at time s plus 1, which is a function of the process at time s, the control, us and us, and a noise. And here it's a bit bizarre because I'm just putting ws plus 1 because I will assume in some cases it is easier to consider the case where the control may depend also on the current noise. The admissible control processes depends only also on ws plus 1. So here the ws corresponds to a sequence of independent, identically distributed random variables. Again, there can be d-dimensional Gaussian variables, so the time discretization of the difference of the Brownian motion, of the increments of the Brownian motion. And again, I can put discount factor alpha instead of x lambda delta. And here I can also consider minimization and value function. I want also to compute the value function and the optimal feedback. And then we know that V is the unique solution of the Bellman equation, which is now a recurrence equation, Vt equal to Vt or Vt plus 1, where Vt is given here. So here we have the expectation of an operator BT del T applied to the function, and BD del T is as this form. So the expectation, contrary to what happens in general in discretization, the expectation is put outside the minimum. Yes. What is the relation between the two problems? Well, we can just, so if you are interested only in Hamilton-Jacobi equations, we can still use, for instance, a semi-Lagrangian scheme. If Xc hat is a Euler discretization of the process C, we get this formula, this recurrence equation, which has already the form of a discrete time problem. And we have already a Bellman operator, discrete time Bellman operator, which is given here. And we know that under appropriate solution, the H converges to the solution of the Hamilton-Jacobi equation. But here I didn't do any space discretization, only time discretization, and so I recover the problem, the discrete time problem. So the discrete time problem is already difficult to solve in general. So we know that, so in this workshop, that standard grid-based discretization suffer from a curse of dimensionality, the malediction. So we know that the computing time should be exponential in the dimension, and so we want to try several methods which may be dimensionality free, curse of dimensionality free. So example of such methods are the idempotent or so-called tropical methods that I will use. There are also sparse grid, special classes of via representation formula discussed in this workshop, tensor decomposition, deep learning for deterministic problems. There were some talk about that by Ki Kong. But there are also probabilistic numerical methods, so like quantization, the introduction of a new process to obtain, to use a regression to compute the value function, or control fixed point iteration, like which are similar to policy iteration. And recently, we have increasing works on the application of neural networks or deep learning to the solution of Hamilton-Jacobi equation, and in particular, there are some references here. But since all times, we can just say, well, we can compute the value function only along some few optimal trajectory and do some interpolation. So for the computing the optimal trajectory, we can use the direct methods or Pontryagin principle. But some other examples have been shown in this workshop because, for instance, the work of Falcon on tree structure is an example where you compute in only the optimal trajectory, the value function and the feedback along an optimal trajectory. But there is another example which is applied. I forgot to write something, I think. So in the stochastic case, which is the stochastic dual dynamic programming method. I don't know where it is. It has disappeared in this line, in the last line. So, and this amounted to the works of Pereiro and Pinto and Shapiro. And I will discuss also this kind of method in this talk. Ah, yes, now it appears. I don't know where it disappeared before. And so my talk will be a mix of improvement of the method of Fahim, Mutuzi, and Varin, of the method of the important method for Hamilton-Jacobi equation, and also for discrete time problems and of the SDDP method. So here's an overview of what I want to explain. So first, I will recall what is the curse of dimensionality-free idempotent method of McInerney for deterministic control problem. So let me recall that if, for instance, if we take the semi-Lagrangian scheme for undiscounted deterministic control problem, the operator Bellman operator BTH, which I defined before, is reduces to this formula. So here you see that you have a supremum, you have no expectation, and so you have phi here. And because of this, so first, BTH is monotone, but it is also max additive. That is, if you take the supremum of two functions phi and phi prime, we get by the operator BTH the supremum of the images here. And if you add a constant to phi, a constant function to phi, then you obtain you add a constant to function to BT of phi. This is this property, which means that it is max plus linear. And you can write it using algebra notation, so with a plus in a circle, because it's not a usual plus. The plus is the max, and the multiplication and the time multiplication by a scalar is the addition of this scalar function. So this property indeed can be seen also in the continuous time case. So the Laxolonic semi-group associated to the Hamilton-Jacobi equation is max plus linear. So if you take the supremum of final cost or rewards, you obtain the value function is the supremum of the two corresponding value functions. And because of this, we see that if we take some basic function in max plus algebra, Qi, then if at time t plus h, Vt plus h is a maximum or is a supremum of is a max plus linear combination of a Qi, then at time t, Vth is also a max plus a linear combination of some function Qit, where the Qit can just be computed by applying the operator Bth to a Qit plus h. So we only need to compute the effect of the Bellman operators on the basic functions. So this idea was used in the several works, so old work by Fleming and McInerney and by Gobert, Lacroix, and myself, to construct some sort of finite difference max plus finite element method. But if you do that, it's like when using grid-based methods, you need a complexity which is similar. A second type of max plus method was introduced by McInerney in 2007. It used the fact that you consider that the Hamiltonian HM, so the Hamiltonian were obtained when the discrete control is constant equal to M, correspond to LQ to linear quadratic problems. In that case, the operator BTHM, so BTH is the maximum of operator BTHM, and the BTHM sends quadratic function to quadratic function. And to obtain the implication, you just need to solve the Riccati recurrence equation. So if your VTH is a finite supremum of quadratic forms, then VTH is also, so if at time at the final time, the VTH is a finite supremum of quadratic forms. Then at any time, VTH is also a finite supremum of quadratic forms. So this is why we call it a course of dimensionality free, because the number of quadratic forms that you obtain does not depend on the dimension, but it depends on the number of time steps, and it is exponential in the number of time steps. To reduce this exponential size, McNeely proposed to use pruning. But there was another method proposed by Zheng Qiu in her thesis in 2014, where she replaced pruning by random sampling. How it works. So first, to simplify, we assume that all the Hamiltonian are homogeneous of degree 2. So then, in that case, we assume also that at each step k, VTK is a supremum of quadratic forms which are homogeneous, so pure quadratic forms, a finite number of quadratic forms. And we compute, so we do not compute the supremum, we do not compute the value function, but you compute only the set of quadratic forms, the parameters of the quadratic forms. You forget for the value we don't want to compute it for each x. We want to compute only the set VTK, which represents VTK. So at the beginning, we start with empty sets. And then we have two phases. One, forward phases where we draw some new points, xk minus 1 uniformly on the unit sphere. So because of this homogeneity. Otherwise, we need to draw points on all the space, RD. And in the backward phase, we compute the operation of the application of the Bellman operator BTH to all the quadratic form stored at time t plus h, so the elements of Phi plus hk, but for all m, so we obtain a lot of quadratic form, and we take only the one phi which maximize the value at the drawn point, at the xtk minus 1. And we add this function phi to the set, to the current set phi tk minus 1. So the algorithm of Zheng Qiu was applied directly to the PDE and to the stationary case, but it's similar to that operation. Oh, excuse me, I didn't have time to find, to draw some pictures. So now I will pass to the random case. So the case where you consider stochastic control. In the stochastic control setting, we have this Bellman operator, which is still a maximum of finite number of operators, which are this form, which depends on M. But now you have a supremum of an exploitation. So these operators are monotone, order preserving, but they are not anymore max plus linear. So what can we do in that case? So we still have that if the Hamiltonian correspond to, so now LQ, linear quadratic Gaussian problems, then the operator sends a quadratic form to a quadratic form, and that it can be computed using Riccati recurrence. But since you have this exploitation, we cannot commute between exploitation and supremum, and so we cannot obtain directly a supremum of quadratic forms. In the works of McNeely, Kaysen, and they're shown that nevertheless, we have that the value function is a supremum of quadratic form at each time. But now the supremum is among a set ZT, which can be computed recursively like that. So which is isomorph, well, which is in bijection with this set. ZT is equal to the set of control U times the set of control M times the set of function from W, so the set of the space where the noise is living, to the T plus H. So this is very big, and since W is infinite, we get an infinite dimensional, we get an infinite space and even an infinite dimensional space. And the proof of this result use max plus distributivity. But, well, as I said, this set ZT, this image. So this set ZT, so in the determinist case, can be computed like that. So where ZT is M at some power NT. So it is exponential in the number of steps points. But in the stochastic case, ZT is infinite. And even if we do a discretization of a Brownian and if we do a discretization of sets of control U, then we get a doubly exponential time. So ZT, cardinal of ZT is in the order of cardinal of Z capital T at the power P at the power NT. So in this case, the work of McKinney and their proposed again pruning, and here we propose again random sampling. Note that given a sampling on RD and a priori cardinality of sets phi t, we can try to find directly an approximation of value function as a supremum of finite number of quadratic form. So like that. But so by trying to find the parameters. And we can try to find it just by doing a minimization of the norm of the error. But in that case, we obtain a not convex program. And so at the beginning, I was thinking about that, but since it is not a convex program, I was reluctant to try to use, stochastic gradient method, and so which may lead to local minima. And so I use another way, which is indeed can be seen as a tropical projection. So this other way is indeed inspired by the formal proof of the previous theorem, the theorem of that any value function is a supremum of quadratic form. Indeed, if you know in advance that Vt plus h is a supremum of a finite number of quadratic form phi in some finite set phi t plus h, then we can construct, well, at least there exists a function z from Rd to phi t plus h, which chooses an element of the function phi which maximizes phi of x. And in this way, we can construct z tilde, which is here. So gt of m is the dynamics of the discrete time problem. So z of the gtm of xu w is fixed, so it is random because you have wt plus th, which is the noise. Xu are fixed, and so you obtain a random quadratic, the parameter of a random quadratic form. So now we can compute this expectation. So z tilde is random and depends on wth and on xu, but here we compute it for any x prime and u prime. And in that case, you obtain something which is quadratic in x prime u prime, because z tilde is just a random quadratic form, and gtm is linear, and glm is also quadratic. So in that case, you can compute this. You obtain a quadratic form which is below this function and with equality next u. And taking the supremum over u prime, you obtain a new quadratic form phi, which is below the application of the operator to vt plus h, with equality in some point x if u was well chosen. And so you need a priori to draw all the points u to obtain u which is well chosen. This is what is done in this algorithm, which is inspired by an algorithm that we introduced in another setting with Flojo. So again, I could start with some sets which are empty. Then I draw independently new points x and u. So at each time t and at the step k minus 1. Then we use a backward phase where we use the idea that I explained before. So compute zeta, which is random, then compute this function, which is quadratic, by, for instance, by regression or by just by computing it, and then compute phi of x prime, which is quadratic, and add this function phi to the set of quadratic functions. When there is no control u, we just need to control u to draw the states. And when you have over formulation where the expectation is outside the minimum, it's also the case. Okay, you do not need to draw some control u. And well, just a moment. And indeed, this idea are, and so we get that in that case that for all the drawn points xt k minus 1, we have this equality. So we have an inequality for the function bt of vt plus hk is less or equal to vtk, and the value in xtk minus 1, so in the sample xt k minus 1 is the equality in this point. And this algorithm so is similar to what happens in the SDDP, so the stochastic dual dynamic programming algorithm. So this inspired work with Tran, and so this is a thesis of PhD thesis of Tran on the comparison with the SDDP method. So here I explain now the min plus, well, the tropical, the idempotent algorithm in the min plus case. So you have a quadratic function. So at each step you add a quadratic function. The new function is like that, but you don't compute it. You just compute the parameter of this quadratic function as this quadratic function, and you choose when you have several quadratic functions that are possibly that can be added. You choose the one which minimizes the value in this drawn point xt k minus 1. And similarly, in the SDDP case, we consider, so SDDP applies only in the case where value function is convex, that is when the costs are convex and the dynamic are linear. And in that case, you approximate from below, so now, the function by supremum of affine maps. And each time we add the maps which touch the value function at xt k minus 1. So the way the two methods applies is that you have a way to select a new function, a new basic function by using the set of previous basic function at time t plus 1 plus the new point xt k minus 1. We select functions which is such that the value at xt k minus 1 is equal to the value, the operator applied to vt plus 1. And you have also another property, which is this we call validity assumption, which is that you are either below or above the function, depending if you are using a min plus method or a SDDP method. So the general algorithm, which encompasses the two algorithms, is as follows. So it's the same. You suppose that you know some sets at time k minus one, at step k minus one, and also some probability law mu k minus. We compute a probability law on a set of trajectories. Then you draw new trial points using this probability law. And in the backward phase, we evaluated the selection function to add the function. And in that case, using the same kind of techniques as for SDDP algorithm, we can prove that the sequence of function VTK converge uniformly on the support, most surely on towards the function VT star. And this VT star can be equal to VT only on some sets. And to obtain this set, we just need condition. So we say that that the sets ST are phi t optimal if they satisfy this. That is, if the value of phi t the value of the operation the operator applied to phi t plus 1 depends only on its value on st plus 1. If you want to only to compute it on st. So in that case, we see that if we consider kt star the limit sup of the support of the mu k, then if VT is then if the state KT star are VT optimal for the case of min plus method or VT star optimal for the case of the SDTP method, then VT star is equal to VT on KT star. This generalized the result which were also for SDDP. So here is just an example where we show. So to find an example, it's difficult to find an example which encompasses which can be entered at the same time in the two settings, so the SDDP setting and the min plus setting. So the example that we took is a linear quadratic problem, but with a constraint on one control variable VT. So which is supposed to be in some finite interval. And in that case, the problem, so CT are supposed to be convex and quadratic, and FT and the dynamics to be linear. And in that case, the problem is convex, and at the same time, by discretizing VT by several points, we can enter in the setting of the min plus method. So in that case, we can apply the method to both cases, to the two methods. So here you have on the below the value at some point at the optimal trajectory of SDD of the obtained using SDDP method, SDDP algorithm. So you obtain these values with after several iterations. So the difference between the two functions is converging to 0, and we are in dimension 25 with 3 control variable plus the variable b. The difficulty is that what is sequence xt? How is chosen the sequence xtk? In the SDDP algorithm, for deterministic control problem, one can draw just the optimal trajectory xtk associated to a previous value function, previous computed value function. And we obtain the convergence because the condition was with this V star. However, if we just take the optimal sequence generated by a min plus method, this does not work. There are some counter examples. But we can use the optimal trajectory of SDDP to draw the points for the min plus method. And this is an idea that can be also extended to stochastic case using method of Bocquet and co-authors. And but this is work in progress, and so we didn't add a new example for that. So now I will show you works on the that are more typical of Hamilton-Jacobi equations that we use with Fujio for stochastic control problems, and in particular with application to finance. So now I'm considering the PDE, the Hamilton-Jacobi PDE, and we tried to use the algorithm proposed by Fahim, Touzi, and Barin. So this algorithm is based on the backward stochastic differential equation framework. So if we decompose the Hamiltonian H into the sum of linear Hamiltonian L with a drift F bar and standard deviation sigma bar, and nonlinear Hamiltonian G. Then we can consider the stochastic differential equations of the diffusion associated to the operator L, which is xt, and the backward stochastic differential equation for yt, which is given by this, where G is this difference, H minus L, and you have Z and Y. So usually when you consider just semi-linear equations, that is when sigma, so the control, the standard deviation does not depend on control, for instance. We do not need this equation for ZT, but in the case of fully nonlinear equation, we need that. So this is the result of Cheredito, Sonner, Touzi, and Victoire, which says that if we consider this backward equation, then yt will be the value function at point xt, zt will be the derivative, and the gamma t the second derivative. And using this interpretation, they are proposed the time discretization of the Hamilton-Jacobi-Bellman equation, or of any fully nonlinear equation. For this, we can consider the Euler discretization of the process xt. So the process xt, recall that this process xt does not depend on the control because it's just a purely artificial process associated to the semi-group, to the Hamiltonian Cal L. And then we can get time discretization of IGB by considering this iteration on VT. So VT is equal to TTH applied to VT plus H, where TTH is given by this. So D0, D1, D2 are some sort of approximation of exploitation of the derivative. And by using integration by parts, or if you want to derivation of integration by parts, we can obtain that that can be written as exploitation of phi. So the pseudo derivative of phi, derivative I, is equal to exploitation of phi applied to the process x at time t plus h times some polynomial on the increment of a Brownian motion. So WTH is WT plus H minus WT. Maybe it was written somewhere before. So This polynomial are obtained by exact formula and they are of degree I when you consider the derivative of the I derivative, derivative. Then, using this formula, we were able to show that this operator TTH of discretize the equation is almost monotone, and but only under this condition, which imply that the variance of the standard deviation of the noise is not oscillating too much between the point X. And with that, they obtain the convergence of the H towards the solution of the Hamilton-Jacobi equation. And their use. This method, combined with regression estimation of the derivative, to obtain an algorithm which converge, which works at least until dimension 5. Well, the problem was that you have this critical constraint, and it cannot. With that, we were not able to consider enough general cases. And indeed, we saw that when discretizing the noise, the previous scheme can be seen as a finite difference, but with a small stencil. So because of this, we changed the polynomial P2, and also we also changed after the polynomial P1 to do something which is analogous to a stencil which becomes larger. For this, we had to consider, well, big formulas. So we replace the previous sigma transpose for the non-linear case minus the one of the linear case by this formula, for instance, by using Cholesky decomposition. And we constructed a polynomial of degree 4k plus 2, which has the advantage that it is great. So this part is non-negative, and decay is going to 0 when k is going to infinity. And then changing this formula by this polynomial, we get a scheme which is monotone. We can do a sort of similar operation on the first derivative to obtain a scheme which is similar to a point discretization. And at the end, we get a nonlinear operator T, which is such that the discretization is still of the form VH at time T is equal to T applied to VH at time T plus H. But this T plus this operator T is a little more complicated. So it is the supremum for all the control of some operator, which can be seen, which can be computed like that. So mainly you have expectation of phi at the new point x hat of T plus H times a function of the noise. This function of the noise now is non-negative. And so this operator T is always monotone. And under several assumptions, we can obtain that the discretized solution is converging to the discrete, to the true solution, and also obtain estimation using viscosity techniques. So now, what is the probability d'impotent method for stochastic control problem? So remember, we have this new scheme, which has this form. So the operator T is the supremum for M and U of an operator T, which depends on M and U. This operator on T of M and U is equal to an expectation of, 1 running cost plus phi applied to this X hat of T plus H times something, which can be seen as not a discount factor, but a discount factor which may be greater than 1. But which is at least non-negative. Because of this operator T is monotone, but it has a similar form as the operator that we considered at the beginning, except that you have this alpha. And even if with this alpha, if we have all the good properties that, for instance, quadratic forms are transformed into quadratic forms, or random quadratic forms are transformed into random quadratic forms, we can obtain a similar algorithm as at the beginning when we considered Bellman operator associated to a stochastic control problem in discrete time. So here you have a T, which can be written as a function of a random function phi tilde, which is phi tilde applied to this operator, STH. And so as I said, this GTH is monotone. It is also almost subhomogeneous. And if L is corresponds to linear dynamics, and the problem HM is also correspond to a linear quadratic Gaussian problem, then GH and G send a quadratic form, random quadratic form to a random, GHM send a random quadratic form to a quadratic form. And because of this, we can, so then we obtain that we can apply, this I will pass. We obtain that at each time VH is a supremum of quadratic form. So, but the advantage of this method is that the process X hat does not depend on the control. And so here in the construction of ZT, I do not need U. I have M times this set of functions. And we can apply the same idea as for the random idempotent method to stochastic for stochastic control problem, except that we do not need to do a sampling of U. Here it's the construction which is a little more complicated because we are not sure that where is it? But this is truly quadratic. And so in that case, we can obtain a quadratic form by using regression, using the sampling points that we had before. So here we have some sampling of a set of the points. So now we are sampling X hat and not pure arbitrary sequence XTK. Where is it? I'm lost. So here you have X hat 0, which is sampled. We have the Brownian increments which are sampled, and we could deduce the process X hat of T. With this, we can construct so independent sample for W and for X hat. And at each point xt, which is sampled, we construct this function zt, which is in the Argmax of quadratic form obtained of all the quadratic forms which are obtained using the the operator applied to random quadratic forms. And we get so random quadratic form here, and to which we apply linear regression to obtain a quadratic form at time t. And then we add this function, this new function, to the set of quadratic forms. So here it's the idea of the computational time. The difficulty is, so it's not a problem with using the number of sampling, but we don't know if we can do a small number of samplings. And here we applied this method to a simple finance example, which is an pricing and aging of an option. So here we have this function that we approximate by supremum of quadratic forms. So here you have a difficulty because you have some cusp. And we use, since the dynamic is linear, we can consider that the set of control is finite, so there is no continuous control. And we have a parameter with respect to what was done, what was presented at the beginning. For two stocks, the problem was solved using a randomized control by Karoubi, Langrenien, and Pham, and we solved it also by this probability max play method, and we solved it also in dimension 5. But although this is not, so these are the example in dimension 2, and these are the example in dimension 5. But we had some difficulties in obtaining a good time because we had to compute all the operator applied to all the quadratic form that are stored at time t plus h, and this is a lot. And so maybe there is something to improve. So now I'm finished. I proposed several ideas. Maybe I forgot something. So several ideas inspired by this random algorithm of Fahim to the invariant by the idempotent algorithm. The advantage with respect to pure probabilistic schemes is that we just need to do regression on the linear space of small dimensions, namely the space of quadratic forms. The advantage with respect to pure idempotent scheme is that to avoid pruning. And we had also the advantage with respect to the SDDP algorithm that we do not need the convexity. But however, we cannot just follow one optimal trajectory and so just compute few values of the value function and of the optimal control. And so we still need to improve the stochastic method using the probabilistic scheme, and also to find an SDDP algorithm in the non-convex set case, so that we had at the same time a lower approximation and a upper approximation. So for the moment, the lower approximation only works in the convex case. The upper approximation works in more general case, but to obtain the quality of the true approximation of the fact that they are close to each other, we need the convexity, and this is too much. So, well, I'm finished, and good afternoon. Thank you.